Were you always going to be a lawyer when you were young? Because you were born into a very illustrious legal fold. Or was there something intrinsically or philosophically attractive about law as a profession which got you in?
No, I don't think at the age of 20, 25 I was attracted by the philosophy of law. I was actually, it was very exciting to see my father as a young girl practice as a lawyer when I was living at home. And, you know, he was in court every day, and we used to have dinner together, the whole family. And at night you would hear all these conversations, one side of the conversations with a walkie-talkie phone that existed in that time. And it was always frenetic, energetic, argumentative, you know, having to win, fighting everything as a war, not a skirmish. And so, given that I also have quite an argumentative nature, it appealed immediately. And for me, it was almost like an osmosis factor. I don't think I ever wanted to do anything but the law.
It must have been heartbreaking to lose your father to COVID last year. But what really have you imbibed from him? I mean, was he just an inspiration as a young woman, or are many of the things that you adopt today, use today, are actually the impression that he left behind on you?
I think really the value system which he asked me to follow from the first day. So I worked in America for nearly 5 years at a firm called Baker & McKenzie in New York, and came back essentially to get married, and came back into another world. You know, it was Dickensian almost in nature. I shared the desk, which was a small 4 feet, 5 feet desk with my senior. We had no secretary. It was sweaty and packed and full of papers. And it was starting from scratch. And it was arguing in court as opposed to doing an M&A transaction that I was doing in New York. And so my father was in Delhi, I was in Bombay, so we never really got to practice in the same city. But, you know, he would always tell me that, don't forget that the ultimate person you are arguing before is the judge, and that you are always an officer of the court, and that your client is important, but never more important than your reputation with the judge. And he always used to tell me that, you know, if you say one thing wrong in one matter before one judge, they all have lunch together. You will ruin your reputation in one lunch. And therefore, what you were brought up with is you have to do the right thing. That doesn't mean you can't fight heart and soul for your client, but there's a limit beyond which you need not travel, and you ought not to travel. And your sense of self-worth and confidence and your ability to sleep at night without vexing about what you did during the day is far more important than winning that fight with the wrong means. So I've always grown up to acknowledge clients as important, but not vitally necessary to my existence if they cross my moral compass. And I think that with those values, the clients in turn respect you, because they understand that the moral compass you deliver to them is for their benefit. I mean, I'm not getting anything out of their good behavior, right? I'm just protecting them. And therefore, slowly and surely, as you grow older and fatter and wiser, people take you a little more seriously. So I think that was one of my father's greatest lessons to me and counsel to me, that just make sure whatever you do, you're able to deliver the advice in a manner that you don't regret delivering it the next day.